seemingly peaceful, sunny, calm river are trees floating, and you don't see them. Occasionally one will float by, but this is a tundra river, not a glacier river. It does come off of a glacier, and frequently trees are ripped down by the currents and carried along in this water. So if you're navigating these waters, you have to be aware that if you run into something like this with a powerboat, it's going to cause some harm. It will stop the boat, if not put a hole in it. But last year, during my journey down this peaceful little river, I saw very few bits of floating debris. But it did meet a second river, and that river was called the Tanana River, and it is a glacial river, and it was full of floating trees. And it became a little 7-hour struggle for my life to try and stay alive in that river, because I had to get out of my kayak and walk along the side of the river here, where you can see there's not a lot of space to walk. This is a few feet wide, but I had to pull my kayak up the side of the river, and as I pulled it up, I discovered that frequently there's things that are blocking your way along the side of the river. So I would meet these trees, and the trees compel you to go out into the water by foot and walk around them. And in the Tanana, at the end of these trees, the river can be 7-8 feet deep, and moving at 20 miles an hour, that's pretty tough to stand up in. Consequently, my kayak flipped, and everything in it was soaked. I almost got washed down the river. But that pile of trees over there is an indication of how much lumber is floating in these rivers. It's deceptive. In the Tanana River, you can't see it with your eyes. I camped on the island, and I saw large, dark things rising up out of this peaceful, calm surface, only to find out that they were the bottoms of trees, which are in this pile over here. So I know now, I don't know if you can see this or not, but the river is flowing downstream. It's flowing down that way to the west. And this river is coming from the east, draining out of a lot of little smaller streams out of the tundra, and a major branch out of the Tanana. But I really want to go back, because I learned that if you go into this water and you try and fight the flow by coming in and meeting these large logs, and you walk this way, you're fighting the flow, and it'll take all your strength and drain you of all your energy and sink you. So nobody goes out there. No power boats, no vacationers. There are no animals. The waters run too fast, too murky, and there's no vegetation, because this river flows so fast that it washes everything away. So on my webpage I have a story called The Convergence that talks about how this river flows from here down to the west, and further down this river meets the Yukon River and flows north and then out to the Bering Sea. So I just wanted to share the story about how deceptive this peaceful, beautiful river can be, because underneath the water, soaked and floating beyond where your eyes can't see, are all these trees that have been washed down and ripped down by the raging flow of higher currents when the rain falls in the mountains and the stream levels come up. As you can see, these logs are quite a bit above the level of the river. And now bring it down to the water's surface so you can see I'm right beside that log, and then as you come up you can see that there is space underneath these logs. And the only way these logs can get here is if water was over the top of them. And that log right there sticking out on the very top, this one right here, top of this is at least 3 feet above the water level down here. So this water level changes height according to the flow of the river and rainfall in the mountains. So not many people, unless they're inebriated, go out into the Tanana. But my hope is to return to the Tanana soon and try and learn from my error. Never fight against a river current. In a kayak, always go with the flow, enter it upstream and take it downstream, and never try to fight against its flow. So, here with the Arctic midnight sun shining in the river is the end of the story.